Good morning everyone. I am Dr. Ankita Shah. Today we will discuss about the viscera stomach. The stomach is the most dilated part of our gut, lying between esophagus and the duodenum. The stomach is J-shaped in living human beings and it is sickle-shaped in cadavers. The size of stomach is roughly 25 centimeter. The capacity of the stomach in newborns is 30 to 50 ml and in adults it is 1000 to 1500 ml. The stomach presents the following parts. It presents two ends, one is the cardiac end, another one is the pyloric end. This is the cardiac orifice. This cardiac orifice lies 2.5 centimeter towards the left of the midline. The pyloric orifice lies 1.25 centimeter towards the right of the midline. It has got two borders. One is the left border, that is the greater curvature. Another one is the right border, that is lesser curvature. It has got following subdivisions. The fundus, this is present above a transverse plane drawn through the cardiac notch. What is this cardiac notch? It is the notch of the greater curvature towards its upper end. So, this is the fundus lying above the transverse plane drawn through the cardiac notch. This is the body of the stomach and rest is the pyloric part. In between the body and the pyloric part, we draw an imaginary line. This line can be vertical or slightly oblique. It is drawn from the angular notch to the greater curvature. What is angular notch? The most dependent part of this J-shaped lesser curvature is known as the angular notch. The pyloric part is subdivided into pyloric antrum, pyloric canal, and in between them, this pyloric antrum and pyloric canal, there is sulcus intermedius. The total length of this pyloric part is 10 centimeter, among which the pyloric antrum is 7.5 centimeter, the pyloric canal is 2.5 centimeter. The stomach also has two surfaces, that is antero-superior surface and the postero-inferior surface. Now let us look at the viscera. This is the viscera of the stomach. This is the pyloric end and this is the cardiac end. Now, how to know which one is the pyloric end? First, by palpation, if we just touch it, we will feel the pyloric end wall is much more thicker than the cardiac end. If I also look at the viscera, if you look closely, you can see how thick is it wall. This is due to the thickening of the circular muscle here. So, this is the pyloric end, whereas look at the wall of the cardiac end. It is so much thin. Now, how to place it in anatomical position? As I have told you, this pyloric end will be lower in position, the cardiac end will be higher in position. The pyloric end should lie 1.25 centimeter away from the midline and the cardiac end should lie 2 centimeter away from the midline. This is towards the left side and this is towards the right side. But identifying these two ends is not enough to know the anatomical position. What else we have to identify? These are the curvatures. This is the lesser curvature and this is the greater curvature. How to identify them? The lesser curvature is smaller, the greater curvature is 4 to 5 times longer than the lesser curvature. This lesser curvature is situated at a more posterior plane and the greater curvature is situated on a more superficial plane. So, how will it be? placing the lesser curvature on a more posterior plane and greater curvature on a more superficial plane. So, one way I was holding like this. Another correct way to hold it in anatomical position is to place your left palm like this. Then put the viscera on the left palm. Pyloric end towards the right side, the cardiac ends towards the left side, and slightly lifting the palm like this so that the greater curvature comes at a more superficial plane than the lesser curvature. So, this is the anatomical position of the stomach, where this is the pyloric end, this is the cardiac end, this is the greater curvature and this is the lesser curvature. So, let us look at the parts of the stomach again. I am keeping it here. We have two ends, the cardiac end or the cardiac orifice, the pyloric end. At the cardiac end, the esophagus comes in connection with the stomach. There is presence of physiological sphincter here, which opens only when the food from the esophagus goes into the stomach. Coming to the pyloric end, in the pyloric end, the wall is much more thicker. There is presence of anatomical sphincter here, which is formed by the condensation of the circular muscle. This cardiac end is lying at the level of T11 thoracic vertebra. This pyloric end is lying at the level of L1, that is lower border of first lumbar vertebra. Coming to the curvatures. The lesser curvature, if you look here closely, this lesser curvature provides attachment to the lesser omentum, and we can see some vessels here. Within the lesser omentum, there is anastomosis of right and left gastric vessels. Coming to the greater curvature, this greater curvature is providing attachment to greater omentum. Within the greater curvature, I can see, if you look closely, you can see one vessel here. So, within the greater curvature, there is anastomosis of right and left gastroepiploic vessels. Coming to the surfaces, this is antero-superior surface and this is postero-inferior surface. The antero-superior surface covered by greater sac, posterior-inferior surface covered by lesser sac. Coming to the subdivisions, a transverse plane drawn from the cardiac notch. So, the part lying above it, this is the fundus of the stomach. Another imaginary line, this is the, you can see here, this is the lesser curvature, most dependent part, angular notch. So, this is the angular notch. From the angular notch to the greater curvature, in between them, this is the body. So, part above the transverse line drawn through the cardiac notch, fundus, body demarcated from the pyloric part through the imaginary line, starting from the angular notch up to the greater curvature. Coming to the pyloric part, this is pyloric antrum, this is pyloric canal. The wall of pyloric antrum is comparatively thinner. So, this was regarding the presenting parts of the stomach and how to hold it in anatomical position. There are two ways. One, you can hold it like this. Another way, keep your hand, left palm like this, put the viscera like this. So, this is another way of holding the viscera, keeping the cardiac end above and towards the left side, pyloric end below and towards the right side, greater curvature, superficial, comparatively superficial, lesser curvature, comparatively posterior, and this is the antero-superior surface and below is the postero-inferior surface. So, this was regarding the anatomical position. Now, let us come to the details. This antero-superior surface is related to various structures. What are the structures? Let us look at this picture. This is the right part starting from the cardiac notch up to the antrum, that is pyloric antrum. This right part is related to the left lobe and quadrangular lobe of the liver. Coming to the left part, the left upper part is related to the left costal margin and the diaphragm. Sometimes spleen intervenes between the fundus of the stomach and the diaphragm. The left lower part is related to the transverse colon, and in between them there is a intervening triangular part which is known as gastric triangle. So, let us look at this in the viscera. So, this is the right part, I am demarcating it, this is the right part, this is the left part. So, the right part is coming in relation with the, suppose this is my hand, is representing the liver. So, the right part is coming in relation with the liver. Which part of the liver? The left lobe and the quadrangular lobe. Coming to the left part, left upper part is related to the left costal margin and the diaphragm, and sometimes the spleen comes in relation with the fundus of the stomach in between the stomach fundus and the diaphragm. The left lower part is coming in relation with the transverse colon, and in between them, can you see this shiny part? This shiny part is known as the gastric triangle. It is coming in relation with the anterior abdominal wall. So, what will be the boundary of this gastric triangle? Above is the, above and towards the left side, the left costal margin, towards the right side, the lower border of left lobe of liver, and below is the transverse colon. The importance of this gastric triangle: during gastrostomy operation, which is done during obstruction in the food passage, especially in the esophagus, the gastric tube is inserted into the stomach through this triangle. Another important space comes here just above the fundus. It is known as trough space. Look at this picture. What is this trough space? This is the left lung. Just outside the diaphragm, the left lung and pleura comes in relation with the left upper part of the stomach. So, this orange area I have colored, this is the trough space. If we look at the boundary, above left lung, below left costal margin, on the left side spleen, on the right side lower border of left lobe of liver. What is the importance of this trough space? This is known as percussion. So, when we perform percussion on the trough space, due to the presence of air within the fundus, there will be production of resonant sound. But dull note will be produced in various clinical conditions. What it can be? One is the enlargement of the liver, another one is the enlargement of the spleen, or in case of pleural effusion. So, this was regarding the relation of the antero-superior surface. Coming to the postero-inferior surface, the postero-inferior surface, the structures form the stomach bed. Why it is known as stomach bed? Because the structures lying here create a fossa on which the stomach lies in supine recumbent position. The structures from above downward includes the left crus of the diaphragm, left suprarenal gland, left kidney, the splenic artery. Sometimes the spleen can also come in relation. Then we have the pancreas anterior surface, transverse mesocolon and the left colic flexure. So, these are the structures forming the stomach bed. This was regarding external features of the stomach. Within the stomach there are mucosal infoldings. These mucosal infoldings are known as rugae. The rugae are more prominent towards the lesser curvature, and within the lesser curvature, starting from the cardiac orifice to the pyloric orifice, there is formation inside of the gastric canal. What is the importance of the gastric canal? When we intake fluids, it directly passes from lower end of the esophagus to the lower part of the stomach through the gastric canal, and after that it gets distributed to the other parts of the stomach. But if we intake some irritant fluid, it will directly cause injury to the gastric canal wall, leading to the formation of peptic ulcer. Now, let us come to the vascular supply. Look at this picture. The stomach is supplied either directly by the celiac trunk or by the branches of the celiac trunk. The celiac trunk branches include left gastric artery, splenic artery and common hepatic artery. The left gastric artery runs along the lesser curvature within the lesser omentum. The common hepatic artery gives rise to right gastric artery, which anastomoses with the left gastric artery within the lesser omentum. The common hepatic artery also provides a branch known as hepatic artery. This hepatic artery gives rise to gastroduodenal artery. From the gastroduodenal artery, we get the right gastroepiploic artery, which runs along the greater curvature within the greater omentum. The splenic artery branches include short gastric artery, left gastroepiploic artery and sometimes posterior gastric artery. This right gastroepiploic and left gastroepiploic artery anastomose along the greater curvature within the greater omentum. The posterior gastric artery will supply the posterior part of the fundus, and the short gastric artery supplies the upper part of the fundus and the body. Now, among the vessels, the most important artery is the left gastric artery. It is the main arterial supply supplying upper 2/3 of the stomach. Coming to the venous supply, the veins either directly or indirectly drains into the portal vein. The portal vein is formed by the union of splenic vein and superior mesenteric vein. The short left and right gastric veins drain directly into the portal vein, as we can see here, left gastric vein and right gastric vein draining directly into the portal vein. The short gastric and left gastroepiploic vein draining into the splenic vein, and right gastroepiploic vein drains into the superior mesenteric vein. Now, coming to the nerve supply, the stomach has both parasympathetic and sympathetic supply. The sympathetic supply comes from the celiac plexus. It is vasomotor. It is causing contraction of the pyloric sphincter and helps in gastric filling, but it is inhibitory to the gastric musculature. Coming to the parasympathetic supply comes from the right and left vagal nerves, which forms the posterior and anterior vagal trunks respectively. This vagal supply is secretomotor and it is stimulatory to the gastric musculature, but it causes relaxation of the pyloric sphincter and leads to gastric emptying. Lastly, coming to the lymphatic drainage. For the lymphatic drainage, I will draw an imaginary vertical line from the cardiac notch. This is the right side, this is the left side. Towards the left side, what we can see here? The lymphatics will drain into pancreatico-duodenal lymph nodes. Some of the lymphatics in the cardiac end will drain into paracardiac lymph node. Coming to the right side, right upper part lymphatic drainage into left gastric lymph node, right lower part lymphatic drainage into right gastroepiploic group of lymph nodes. The pyloric part drains in three ways. Either it will drain into the left gastric or into pyloric group of lymph nodes or into hepatic group of lymph nodes. Why I am stressing on the lymphatic drainage? Because through this lymphatics only there is metastasis of the gastric carcinoma. The most common site is the left supraclavicular lymph node, which when enlarged is known as Virchow's node. That is all for today. Thank you.